Welcome to a research project video. We are going to be dealing with two topics in this video. The first one is organizing data in Excel. The second one is using Word to create your charts rather than necessarily Excel or some other program. So first of all, looking at organizing your data. In order to do that, you'll need to think of a couple topics, a couple variables to compare. I am going to be looking at gun ownership in relation to gender. So those are the two items I'm going to be comparing. That's questions 4 and question 6. You will be sent a data set similar to this one. It'll have all the organized data from every individual survey. Notice this one has 479 different data entries. Yours will be a different data set, so your results will be slightly different. So first of all, the things that we have to recognize is this column deals with the gun ownership. This one deals with gender. The other 4 columns are unimportant. So my suggestion is, first of all, make sure you have an extra copy of this data set. Second is then to delete out those columns that you don't need. So the only thing I've got deals with ownership and gender. And what I would want to know is, based on gender, does that have any relationship with gun ownership? So what I'm going to first look at here is separating males and females. So first of all, looking at finding the information for the females. So I'd come to the column with gender, and then go over to the right. So top right here, sort filter, and sort A to Z. It will ask if I want to expand the selection, and the answer is yes, because it'll keep the no's and the yeses with the correct individual. So sort. And so it's got all of the females at the top of this list. As we scroll down, the first male does not occur until the 213th individual. Everything else are just the females, the top 212. So we're going to look at just that data, just the female data. So we'll highlight those rows. So we've got to scroll till we got all of them, and we'll take a little bit of time and copy that. Then go to another sheet, add a second sheet, and you're going to paste that in there. The best way to paste it is to actually use your enter button, and it'll put it in there. Now this sheet has nothing but information about females. So what I'm going to want to know is, for the females, whether they own or do not own. Those are the two different options. Either they did or they did not. So now I'm going to have to sort the own does not own column. And again, come over and sort filter A to Z. And so up at the top, there's the no's. Those are all the ones that do not own. So I will scroll down until I find out how many do not own. They're itemized this way, numbered. I know that there are 145 females that did not own a gun. I know that there are 212 total females. With that, I can determine how many females, in fact, do own. That's 67. So 67 own, 145 do not. When we make our graphs, we're going to want to do our presentations in terms of percentages. The reason we want to look at percentages is because we need to deal with projecting onto the population. It's using now the collected data to create presentational data in the sense of being able to make inferences. The blue is the raw data. And the percentages are used for inferences. So for the 145, that is approximately 68.4%. For the 67, that is the other roughly 31.6%. So that's organizing that data to find out what percentage of each are owning and which do not. You'll also do this for the males, so that you'll have males that own, do not own. I'm going to use made-up data here and say that 70% own and 30% do not. This is not the actual data values. They're just made-up data values so that we can make our presentation on this video. After getting that data, we would open up a Word document, and we're wanting to create graphs to match that. So that graph is going to be inserted into paragraphs. You got your letters you're writing, and you're going to want to insert a chart. So once again, insert, and then charts. It'll bring you up a default list like this. There are line graphs, pie graphs, etc. For this particular data set, a chart, column chart is the best. So I hit the insert. This is default. Default. Notice the categories down at the bottom there are listed over here. Well, our categories would be females, and males. It would be nice to have overall as well. The combined scores, combined amounts. This fourth category is not needed, so delete the row, not the data, the row. So that row no longer exists. See where the blue box is? That's the data that it has. You are wanting to know whether these people for this series, because that's the up and down piece, do not own or do own. And I want you to use slightly different titles in that. This is just for organizational purposes. Again, this column is not needed. So right click, delete, and it will delete the column, not just the data. Notice how what this has done now is it's brought this piece away so that your graph is not going to have empty space by deleting this column. You've only got the two to look at. But notice that this is a number amount, not a percentage. So you want to insert the percentages there that you calculated, not the number of people. For the ones that did not own, it was 68.4% of the females did not own. For the males, our made-up data was 30. We didn't do anything for the females. For overall, I'm just going to put 50-50 just because, for the same reason I did 30-70. Up above, we calculated 31.6 of the females did own a gun. And our made-up data said 70 did not own a gun. And made-up data is saying 50 did for overall. Notice how this is giving us a chart that's got columns needed with identification, blue, do not own, orange I believe that is, for do own. So that inserts a chart into your word graph without dealing with special copies and stuff like that from an Excel document. Another thing you'll want to do is to size this graph. It takes up a lot of space, so if you can size it down a little bit, then it won't be overbearing in the project itself. Another thing you can do is right click and look at wrap text. And if you will wrap it behind the text, that will allow you to move that chart anywhere so that when you're getting ready to put it in the middle of a paragraph, you'll be able to have stuff written in this area. You'll be able to have stuff written in the area on the right, wherever you need it. And it'll be able to submit as a better visual presentation is what I'll say. So that would do for using your Excel to organize the data and then using Word to actually create your charts.